Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Cypher System rules by Monty Cook Games. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. We're happy to have you with us on this journey of cosmic wonder. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living from the vast reaches of unknown space, are strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your game master. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your game master this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are back with another episode in our Children of the Periphery series. We want to thank you and welcome you in, listener. And we especially want to thank our Patreon supporters. You can join them if you'd like at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. We're beginning to release a ton more Patreon-only episodes and then doing our votes through 2025. And so that is providing us some interesting material for you all. And so you can also join us on YouTube. Just search The Old Ways Podcast. You'll find us there. And you can join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheOldWaysTwitch, where we are playing and probably twitching even now. So we're going to get to player introductions, which will begin to my right.
Hi, this is Morgan, and I play Captain Amara Kasra. Our pronouns are she, her, and Amara is a brash explorer who learns quickly. And for those keeping count at home, this is the second time in a second season of a show that I've shot somebody.
We are, in fact, keeping count. To Captain Amara's right.
Hi, this is Rena. I play Tamarisk Anvari. Our pronouns are they, them. Tamarisk is an empathic speaker who commands mental powers. And I am not feeling the slightest bit of trepidation about being on this creepy station thing at all. Definitely not. I've got Cordelia. It'll be fine.
That's right. Speaking of Cordelia, to Tamarisk is right.
Hello, my name is Mare, and I play Cordelia Orin. We are both she, her. And Cordelia is a beneficent warrior who wears power armor. That power armor is currently programmed to protecting Tamarisk. So Tamarisk has nothing to worry about, right?
Not in the slightest. I'm sure everything today will be perfectly fine. And next to Cordelia.
Hi, this is John. I'll be playing Fida, the ship's mechanic. Fida is a mechanical explorer who talks to machines. And we both use he, him pronouns. I'm fine. I've been swallowed twice in the last recent period. And, I've got some kind of bite or bullet. There's a hole in me that shouldn't be there. And I don't care for that.
Time will show that there's a hole in all of us, but that's okay. I'm sure that the captain will get you all figured out. Now, we have a special guest with us this week, and so I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hey, y'all. This is Emily Cummings. I use she, her pronouns. And today I'm playing Aaron Ovell, who is a creative, swift explorer who commands mental powers. And Aaron is going through some of his own stuff, so we'll get to that later.
Fabulous. So we're going to raise the curtain tonight on the signaling station. The Periphery has already headed out. The calm and coolness of the station is still pretty present, even though portions of the system are now coming back online. And you think the heating and air system is beginning to work again? The station's been cold for quite a while. The light-up boards, the information here on the bridge, have a varying array of signals on them. Some are LEDs, others are full band graphics that show exterior cameras. When the Periphery left, actually, the bridge displayed an entire video of it exiting and leaving the cargo bay, and then eventually heading out to where it couldn't see it anymore. There is an awful lot of information here. And I guess I wonder, as we open the camera lens again, Cordelia, Tamarisk, what are the two of you doing on the bridge, which is surrounded by what is effectively alien technology to you, and in a different language?
Cordelia's head is on a swivel. She has her weapon, her hand weapon drawn, just to keep an eye out, very much looking for any sort of movement, any sort of things. She's doing that thing like in cartoons where someone slowly peeks around behind things and then exhales deeply, but is also, while doing that, eyeballing over where Tamarisk is, just looking around, focusing 360. That is everything she's after.
Okay, Tamarisk?
So I'm looking at any symbols or anything that might look familiar to things that I've seen from already doing the exploration that we've done, just trying to piece things together, because that's what I do. And it's very interesting up here, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that I can pick up before our visitor arrives, if they arrive, would be useful.
So a couple things are pieced together probably within the first, say, hour that you're on the bridge. The first enlightening point that you come to is that the signaling station wasn't always a signaling station. It looks like a lot of the hardware here has been retrofitted. It looks like perhaps this station held a much more important purpose at one time. It looks like parts of the station have been carved out or removed, perhaps after a somewhat catastrophic event. And it then was retrofitted to be a waypoint for ore collection. You can tell that there are two completely different computer systems here. Now, you don't tell that from a mechanical or computer end by analyzing it, but you can visually see, now that the entire bridge here has lights, that the stuff that's on the left here doesn't match at all the stuff on the right. And the stuff on the right is dead. It's not lit up. It does not seem to function. But the stuff on the left is seemingly functional and working in order. You've been able to piece together from the station on the left some basic and rudimentary commands. You could probably work this computer system with some accuracy, albeit perhaps a little bit slow. I like to akin it to the first time someone would sit down at I'll say typewriter or keyboard, and they're forced to put themselves into the function of actually typing properly. So it's going to take you a little while to hunt and pack up which keys do what, but you're fairly certain that you could do that. All of that is in your consciousness, is in your perception for some time, probably a couple of minutes. And then there is a really strange sort of sonic warping sound that begins at the far right side of the bridge as an oval appears in midair. Probably stands about maybe 6 inches off the ground and extends all the way up about, we'll say, 2.5 meters. And there is the rolling blackness of the void which exists inside of it. And a being steps through it. This is a being that, at least the type you've seen before. They exit with a very light, sort of form-fitting armor that they're wearing. They have a rather long rifle in their hands, and they have blue skin and a sort of enlarged cranial space. So, Erin, you had gotten a message from the signaling station that alerted you that there was, again, a presence aboard it. And when the community got this message, they sent you to deliver the community's message to these people with haste. And if there's one thing that you are very good at, and that is moving with haste. And so when you dialed up the coordinates through that long rifle and attenuating vambrace, you kind of do the thing that really any on you do, and that is you center yourself for a moment and you remember that the community's survival is critical to you playing your part and not stepping out of bounds. Even though sometimes flexibility has to adjust, it's really important for people to play their roles because that's how the community survives, and that's your goal. And you step through.
All right, what do I see when I step through?
So when you step through, you step into a technological cabin. The technology level is a little under what you're used to in the community. There are a couple of beings here. There are a couple of aliens here. And I'm going to let those two aliens explain what they look like, because I think that's beneficial for you, a newcomer. and you appear to be on a station which was supposedly inert, not working, and is now lit up. And so perhaps these aliens have figured out a way to power the signaling station up.
I turn to look, turn my whole body around once I realize the portal is opening, and you see a fairly tall humanoid person with kind of curly, dark hair and big amber eyes, very high cheekbones. It's very striking. Wearing a high-collared tunic with a sash, trousers, and they look very serious, but there's just like a slight hint of mischief in the eyes, just a slight hint. And they smile very deeply when you step through and give you a hands up, palms out, welcoming gesture and smile at you.
Next to this being, you would see another humanoid figure in power armor. There are armored plates on a tight, form-fitting suit that have various lights at the junctures, some in pink, some in blue, as well as a helmet where you can see through the visor within it, and a pair of eyes are there, the headlamps on it focused in, and there is a laser pistol in her hand. And she sees the other weapon that's there and lowers it slightly, but is not completely out of the way within it. And you can see that Cordelia takes that time, seeing that Tamarisk has raised their hands, and she raises one of hers, her hand still on the weapon, clearly like signaling that they're in a protective mode.
All right. With that, then, the newcomer is going to extract from their bag this weird kind of contraption that they strap on over their mouth, and looks at the two aliens and goes, "Hello."
Cordelia looks right at Tamarisk.
Hello, thank you for coming.
Hello.
So are we hearing that in our language?
Yeah, you are hearing that in a language which you can understand.
Can Cordelia understand it? Yeah, that's a good question. I should probably decide.
Yeah, you can actually. And interestingly enough, your the helmet, like on the power armor, tries to clean the audio up. Like it tries to make it less broken. For you, it comes through sort of in fits and starts at first, and then you can feel the power armor like start humming, and your HUD begins doing a bunch of stuff. Like there's a bunch of text that comes over it, and then the sentences are going to begin to get a little clearer.
That was a terrible time for it to try to update.
So I look at the newcomers. My name is Tamarisk. This is Cordelia.
My name is Aaron. Are you open to negotiation?
There's a wide smile. Yes, that is why we are here.
Good. My people need help. We need you to come back with me to potentially provide us this help.
Very much not looking over at Cordelia because Tamarisk can guess the exact facial expression that is on her face.
The slow turn of a helmet is all you would see from that.
What kind of help do you need that you think we can provide?
I am not entirely sure at this time, but if you would come back with me to my planet, then perhaps you can speak to our council and see what you may be able to do for us.
And you might be able to help us in return?
That would depend on what help you are looking for.
We are very interested in how you travel.
Then yes, I think we can help you with that. But that is somewhat hinging on whether or not my people are eradicated or have to flee their homes. So if you want help with the way we travel, then really your only solution is to help us.
That seems logical to me. We can at least talk about it, see what we can do. Still not looking at Cordelia.
Then we agree. I'm assuming I can see Cordelia. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
What do I see on their face?
In her protective sort of mode, while yes, she wants to be able to help, the idea of, yes, follow me through this here portal with limited communication perhaps to our other folks. You could just see like the little head tilt of like the eyebrows kind of flicking up, like hello, like that kind of trying to get an attention from someone. And after a bit, you just see the shoulders sort of like a sigh, a visual sigh, if not an audible one. And eventually she would speak up and say, this does seem like something we would want to include Captain Kasra and Fida in on. We do have others who would want to know our whereabouts should we change locations.
Seeing Cordelia's facial expression, may I speak into her head?
Say what?
You asking?
Yes, I am.
Are you asking the storyteller or are you asking Cordelia?
I'm asking the storyteller.
So the answer, character-wise, is yes. You have the ability to communicate telepathically. So that character commands mental powers, and so one of the things they can do is talk via their natural telepathy. Normally, it would cost you a point from your intellect pool to initiate that contact. But given the fact that you have an edge pool in intellect of 1, it costs you nothing to do so, and so it's a free ability. And then you could potentially talk to more than one person, but the point cost for it goes up for every person you add. And so the way we would rule this normally is if the contact is acceptable by both parties, there's no roll. If it isn't, then you'll have to roll against Cordelia's tier. And then technically speaking, you'd have to really roll against the tier of the armor, because the armor protects her from all various attacks. And so, yeah, it really all depends. If you want to be nice and friendly about it and ask permission first, then sure, no problem. But if you're just going to project yourself into Cordelia's head, then I'm going to ask you to roll.
All right. I'm going to roll for that then.
Roll it, baby.
Fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is a currently difficulty 3 challenge, which means you need a 9 or better on the D20. You have the ability to spend a level of effort, and so that can automatically drop the difficulty from 3 to 2. You could spend pool points from your intellect directly, and you could spend 2, and then you could drop that to a 3 as well. If you're trained in any sort of mental powers by skills, you could offer that up as to say, hey, I can use the skill against it. So basically what you're trying to do in every single interaction with Cypher System is you are trying to lower the target number that I give you. You're going to say, I can make it easier like this, and it's a flowing conversation we have back and forth.
Given that this is not a super important instance, I'm not going to choose anything.
Okay. So just, 9 or better.
All right, I rolled an 18.
Okay. So say whatever you'd like to Cordelia. We'll just say directly.
All right. So, Cordelia, you here. I see by your face that you are experiencing some feelings of trepidation at my proposal. And I would like to assure you that I mean no harm to any of you or your party members.
As that is happening directly, silently into her head, what Tamarisk would see would be Cordelia going, oh, shit, and like looking around for a second and then locking eyes with the being before her. And so for her, she missed probably the first few words of what happened in the oh shit moment, but then proceeds to sit there and nod, kind of like a dog turning its head, trying to understand what's happening there, and straightens herself out back into her training. Okay. It still stands. My duty is to protect those that I am with. So if there are dangers, I would like to be one of the ones to figure out and help assess what it is, what our capabilities would be to helping you. And it's nothing meant to offend. My oaths make it so that I am bound to aid others. That being said, I want to make sure that it comes at no cost to my people. And gestures towards Tamarisk.
I see. Then by all means, bring them here.
Cordelia now looks at Tamarisk of like, okay, you're going to make the call on this one. Do you want to call home or me?
Well, we should probably call them. That would be... Yes, I suppose we shouldn't just go rushing off into things. That's not really our brand. Well, yes, okay. Yes, I thought about that as I was saying it.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Not your brand. There we go.
No, right. So I guess do we have our own communications to speak with Fida and Captain Kasra from where we are? Or are we going to have to try and use something aboard this ship?
Can we get our new friend to portal us over to the ship so that we meet them at the ship and then all go together?
Should we give Captain Kasra a heads up so that she does not have her weapon on her? Because I know that she's already fired it once today. You know?
Fair point.
Gestures at our blue friend.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, just knowing the technology, it's possible. I'd love to know whether or not Tamarisk and Cordelia are comfortable going through a portal. I wonder if maybe Tamarisk might have a PTSD from going through the last portal. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit, probably. But also with all the information that they've gotten, like with the crown they put on and all of that they've been learning, I think they're also very interested and fascinated in everything they can learn, because that's one of their drives. So maybe it'll balance each other out. But we should probably let the captain know we're coming if we possibly can.
Yeah. Would love to just make for audience and others here as point of information. Cordelia, this is her first time seeing a portal. This is her first time seeing an alien. She's going through it right now and is so happy to have the helmet on. And is also, again, like all this technology that's around her is 200 years older than her, if not more. So, she's just in the mode of like, I have one thing that I know how to do, and it's to fire a gun at anyone who is behind me. Or not behind me, at anyone who's coming after the people behind me. So she is apprehensive at the least level. Like, that is the lowest of the words that she has describing her right now, and it just goes up from there.
Yeah, and I would say for Arin, because you're in mental contact with her now, once you've beaten that score, you have mental contact with Cordelia for 24 hours.
Say what?
Yep, you bet. And so any of those like spare, random subconscious thoughts or the background chatter, you can certainly filter out, because the Anyi are a telepathic race. But it doesn't mean that you don't know what she's feeling and the things that she's thinking about, because as a race, it seems humans seem to sort of flood the mental airwaves with a lot of the things that they think about. That's also something you're going to have to get used to, because they're a little noisy.
Yeah, you hear a couple of songs that are going on repeat, and that thing where they sort of mesh one into another because both songs are stuck in her head. You hear kind of that self-talk that's within there. A lot of, this could be a good thing. This is kind of cool. Man, I always wanted to meet an alien. I don't know what I feel about this. And it's just back and forth, and occasional, for as stoic as she stands and everything, internally, if you could hear the inside of a rabbit's head, it is very much that. The fully unattentive, if she had a little wiggly nose, it would be wiggling. That is how the inside of Cordelia's head feels. So have fun with that. That'll be fun for you.
Okay. So yeah, that's as far as communication goes, Cordelia, you know that your suit at this range could communicate with the Nadir if it had to. You have a broadcast radio inside you.
While she's looking between the two of them, she will reach up and call in, I guess, to either, I don't know, does Rakam act kind of like the operator? Like, hello, operator. I would like to speak to Captain Kasra.
Yeah, kind of. He's, as far as you know, Rakam is in portions of the Nadir. He can't fully deploy the entirety of his AI in it because the computer banks just aren't strong enough to handle it. But he has been handling ship's communications.
Great. So she would call in, Nadir, this is Cordelia.
Oh, this is Nadir. Go ahead, Lieutenant Colonel.
Hey, well, that's nice. So we have a guest over here.
Guest?
A guest. They're waving. You cannot see them. But they are, because I don't think that, did Cordelia ever get the name of this species? Cordelia did?
Yeah, what you know is you believe them to be called the Oni.
The guest that we were expecting has arrived here on the bridge with Tamarisk and myself, and they would like for us to go on a field trip through a portal. So that seems like information that Captain Kazra and Fida would like to know. Are they busy right now?
They just got back a few minutes ago. I can let the captain know. Where is this field trip going?
That is an excellent question. I believe, and as she's saying this, is looking to Tamarisk, still trying to process having an alien in front of her. I believe to their people, we have been asked to maybe help them and some of the help that they need in exchange for them helping us. And that's about as far as the conversation has gotten. You want me to pass the line to Tamarisk? I can do that.
No, Colonel, you're perfectly fine. I'll advise the captain and Fida, and they'll make a decision, I suppose.
Excellent. Allegedly, and is looking at the portal and looking there. Allegedly, we could get to you, I think, quickly.
Have you ever traveled through a portal?
I've never seen any of the things that are currently in front of me, Rakam, and I haven't for several weeks now. I don't know what anything is that I'm looking at. Still am not certain that I'm actually alive. So we kind of are processing through that. So no, I have never, no.
Oh, that sounds fantastic for you. Okay. Well, I'll advise the captain, and then if you decide to go through the portal, just don't hold your breath too long. That's all I advise you.
Okay. And she inadvertently just checks the panel on her arm to see what her oxygen levels are regardless.
Yeah, they should be fine.
Yeah.
Sure. So, Captain Amara, you get calmed from Rakam.
Yeah, I'm currently in the med bay trying to patch up Fida.
Okay. So then he wouldn't calm you. He would just holographically appear in the med bay. Splendid news. Oh, how are you feeling, Fida?
Tender, but I live is...
So there's aliens to meet. They want us to come to dinner.
The bird ones are the ones that put the hole in the ship last time.
No, the one that put the hole in the ship last time, I guess.
Okay. They seem nice.
There's definitely some sort of negotiation going on diplomatically, and Tamara thought you should be involved in it, Captain.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. So they want us to come to dinner. Like, does that mean eat us for dinner? Have us for dinner? I mean, there's all sorts of implications there, Rakam. So, sure.
Great.
Wait. Slow down, Rakam. We got to get Fida all fixed up, though.
Oh, he's fine.
If you put some of the foam in, it's got a local anesthetic too. It's really nice.
Slap an ace bandage on there and call it a day. Little Neosporin, rub some dirt in it. You'll be fine.
It's more like the expanding foam that we use in buildings today. That's pretty much what.
Do you still have pool points to need healed?
Yeah, I can do a recovery.
Oh well, because I can also heal you. I'm specialized in healing.
Well, that would be very kind of you.
I know it would be really good.
Yeah, I'm down 3 might points.
Yes, for healing, Mike. Then I just rolled. It's still a level of difficulty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, let me use my green then. I'm sorry I kill you because I got a 1. Simmer down. I'm going to spend an XP to re-roll.
Good idea.
I got a 5.
Okay, so it's not a critical failure. I will say that healing Fida is probably, given that you're in a med bay and given that you're trained, it's actually probably challenge rating 1 to do any sort of healing on him. So You'll be allowed. I'll let you recover 2 pool points for the captain's stellar work. It is sort of like the old Shadowrun video game, the SNS1 one you get Cyborg put in, where it sort of looks like the captain is hacksawing you to death. But yes, you heal up a little bit.
All I can think is that Rakam is more gentle.
Yes. And yes.
He gives me the anesthetic first rather than at the end.
Listen, don't be a baby. We got things to do. Aliens to meet. Come on.
I don't think you need to use the forceps like that. That's all I'm...
So, should I tell them that you're coming, or that's okay for them to come here, or?
Yeah, I mean, can they pick us up? I mean, I don't really want to bring my ship back down. I mean, our ship back down to the planet where the bird people,
Mm-hmm.
the Rockton might see the ship, come attack the Oni. Yeah, it could be a whole thing. So if you could see if our new alien friend could pick us up with that sweet portal technology, I would really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks.
He turns back. Rakam comes back onto the headset line for you, Cordelia, and says, Captain said it's okay, but she wants all of you to come here and pick us up because she doesn't want to use the periphery in case there's some sort of attack.
Fair enough. I guess I will get us there. We will, and you can see that she's looking at Aaron, and she's like, "Are you able to take us back to where our people are? How does this work? It's a portal. It's a portal. I don't know how portals work, Rakam, and
It's like befolding space. Imagine that there are 2 points on a piece of paper. It's a really long form explanation, but the point is that it creates a hole in space and time, and you traverse them when you step through. Just don't trip. Just don't trip. It's a joke.
Okay. All right. We will head towards you. Cordelia out. Boop. She probably makes the boop sound verbally as well.
100%.
So, yes, with your assistance, we can go and meet up with the rest of our crew so that we can make further decisions on these negotiations from there.
Excellent. And I would like to assure you that teleportation is extremely, extremely safe. The only unsafe feature would be if I teleport us into a place where there is a violence actively occurring. So as long as that is not happening on the other end, we should be completely fine. And I open a portal.
Yep. So the being goes to its like this sort of stylized vambrace that it wears and taps something on it, and then you see the rifle in its hand light up, all like a Christmas tree, or like Christmas tree, because Cordelia would remember Christmas trees. And after that, the portal seems to adjust a little bit, like in size and shape. It actually shrinks, and it's probably no more than like 3 feet high now. But you're fairly certain, Erin, that you have the location locked in of the space that you need to go to.
All right, in you go.
Cordelia looks to Tamarisk and just mirrors the gesture that Erin does.
Take a deep breath, blink, and then walk through the portal.
Okay. So I will just leave you with this, Tamarisk, because I think this is sort of key to anybody that's been in the Third Horizon. Passing through a portal unprotected is a traumatic experience for you because of everything that has happened. Like when you pass through, it feels like it takes too long, and you have felt this feeling before. The only piece that you get is that you hear no voices. There's no skittering. There's no moving shapes in the blackness here. There's simply just a dark void. And then you sort of stumble forward onto the bridge of the Nadir.
Grab onto the closest piece of metal or anything sturdy and just start kind of gasping and bent over, feeling like I can't breathe.
You have a light sheen of frost on you. If it wasn't for the situation, it would look terribly, fashionable. So Cordelia, Tamarisk disappears.
Cordelia takes a moment, doesn't hear any screaming, doesn't hear anything going badly, looks to Arin, steels herself, and steps through as well.
You have a very similar experience in the fact that it feels like you're in open space for a moment. And then you realize that there are no stars. And everything around you is devoid of anything. And then your boots hit the deck of the Nadir, and the blackness sort of reverse tunnels away from you, and you are in the bridge of your ship.
She steadies herself. She takes a good look around, looks behind her at where she just emerged from, and sees Tamarisk in that same space, and goes over to them and offers a hand just for support as well.
That was distinctly unpleasant.
Yeah, didn't like that. Don't like that. Not a fan.
Nope.
Okay. And after a moment of trying to help and support, Tamarisk moves to pop her helmet off as well, just to kind of get a little bit more, less of that claustrophobic feeling from having been in that void space.
You pop your helmet off, and you realize when you get fully exposed to the air here that the power armor has like a sheen of frost on it, and you are sort of venting that a little bit into the air here. Wherever you were, it seems to have been quite cold. And then whenever you want to come through, Erin, you just walk through.
Yeah, Aaron steps through the portal and looks at the two outsiders and sees that they are, kind of struggling to comprehend what just happens. And he goes, "Oh, yes, I forgot that extraterrestrials can sometimes have a hard time with teleportation the first few times. My apologies."
That's one way of putting it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does it do that every time?
I imagine you'll adjust.
Yeah, you could probably adjust like the settings to try to be a little more delicate. You're just so used to portaling that it's just kind of something you do. So you don't really think about the need for creature comforts in that way, but maybe you could adjust.
I can potentially make it warmer.
That might help a little.
You can change the temperature of the hole.
I can change the settings slightly, but overall it is teleportation.
Interesting.
Where are your leaders?
I was about to say, do we have Captain Kazra and Fida nearby?
They're in the medical bay right now on the periphery, but they would know your imminent arrival, and it would get announced when there are new subjects on the bridge. Rakam would tell Fida and the captain, they're here. We've got people here.
Will likely be with us shortly. Our ship will talk to them and let them know. She's saying that with a weird sense of, yeah, our ship can talk. Jury's still out on Rakam, but I don't know. It's that bit of, yeah, we have cool technology too, about her tone.
Yeah, probably. I can feel that tone. For Arin, for their part in this, the ship is fascinating because you've never been on a spacefaring vessel. You've heard about them. They left the planet hundreds of years ago, and the community would be very much interested to know that there's one in orbit or nearby.
All right. Aaron, in that case, is going to, while they're waiting for the rest of this group's team to show up, will start sort of just walking around and not really having perhaps the expected self-restraint when looking at the gadgets and stuff that are around here. So, things that maybe a newcomer should not be touching. Aaron's kind of like, oh, let me poke this. Let me just see what that is. And at some point takes out their sketchbook and starts kind of trying to draw the certain gadgets that you have that he may not have seen before.
Whisper to Cordelia, "It's like Fida. This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them."
The universe made two. Wow. Do you think we should tell them to not touch that, though? Because I still don't know what that does. Are any alarms going off or anything? Any sort of sounds as Arin is poking things?
No sound, no alarms, I should say. But I will say that as the captain and Fida begin coming up to the bridge, Fida, you're getting the sense that someone is cycling through a bunch of the equipment settings and maybe some of the diagnostic stuff on the bridge. And they're just sort of issuing commands, and the console is trying to respond to them, but they keep changing the request like every other second. And so the computer can't handle that sort of constant change in processing. And because it's somehow aware that you're the only person that can hear it, it's complaining to you.
Like, they're just standing there in the elevator going up, and Fida just kind of sighs and just says out loud, "Ignore terminal inputs 300 count." And he's just like, that's only 300 seconds, that's 5 minutes. But he's still just like, that should be, just have that terminal give a message as if it's processing something. A spinning wheel, if you will.
Yeah, it seems that this computer system maybe isn't capable necessarily of processing at the speed that you want. And it looks like the panel locks up. But as it does, you get the sense that there are two other intelligences that are coming up from like a lower deck. And one of them is a little, I think familiar is probably a strong term, but I would say one of them is much more orderly about their mental signatures. And that feels a little calming, which is nice. Everybody else here is really noisy. Captain and Fida, you hit the bridge.
I walk onto the bridge. I'm wearing probably some sort of military cargo pants because my other pants got destroyed. And then I am also wearing probably a tank top at this point because after coming back from the station, it was really hot in that suit. So Amara is probably about 5'6". She's got olive colored skin. She's fit. She's got chin length, dark brown hair. It's almost black. She's got gray eyes, a sharp jawline with high cheekbones. Not that Aaron cares about age, but she looks like she's about 33 years old. She does have markings on her arms and her shoulder. And if she turns, you'll see that she has markings of tattoos on her back. You don't know what any of these are, obviously, because you are not from the Third Horizon. Typically has a sharp look on her face because she doesn't have time for people's crap. So she strides over.
Ah, hello. I am Aaron Ovell, and you must be the leader of these, well, forgive me, what we would call extraterrestrials?
I extend my hand and say, I'm Amara. I don't know if I'm leader, but I captain one of the ships. So, sure, I can be the leader. And you said Aaron?
Yes.
My hand's still held out. In my culture, we usually shake hands when we meet somebody. What do you do in your culture?
I just hold my hand up like this, as sort of like I'm about to wave or about to high five. Do you do the same?
Yeah, well, I mean, we wave. Hello, goodbye.
Oh, no, we don't. And then if you put it like this, and then Aaron just very, very slowly moves his hand so that it's touching yours, and then pulls it back.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for teaching me that. I will know that when we meet your council.
And yours is, sorry, what?
Shake hands. So I reach my hand out, and you take your hand, and you put it in mine.
I reach out the same hand, so that it's mirrored instead of like both right hand or left hand.
That's close, but it would be your other hand. So your opposite hand, you would reach out. Yep. And so I guide my hand into his, and and then I shake it up and down. And that is how we meet new people.
Interesting. Well, are you open to negotiation?
Yes. And this is Fida. He's our engineer. Fida, introduce yourself.
Fida holds a hand up and does the gentle extension, just like, well, yeah. Aaron sees a 6 foot something, almost as tall as Cordelia in her armor. He's wearing a clean jumper, clean trousers. You notice there's a faint smell of almost like wet damp off of him. Very faint. But he is wearing a clean kind of grey jumper. It looks like it probably has been in a drawer for maybe a couple hundred years. And he's wearing kind of charcoal cargo pants and big, heavy safety boots. He's got long, curly black hair. And I suppose the most striking thing, which would have been... Actually, maybe it wouldn't be striking to a non-human. His entire face, as you look at him, and his hands are covered in ink. You can tell this because when he turns his palm over to give you the greeting, you see kind of latte color skin on the palm, and you realize that the kind of off black color of the rest of him is actually very fine, intricate lines of ink that overlap each other. They just happen to cover every square inch of skin.
All right. Yeah, to Aaron, nothing looks unusual, or nothing looks more unusual than the fact that you are just aliens to him, so...
Yeah, but he just kind of gives you a high five and gives you a nod, and he's just like, pleasure to meet you. Yeah.
Shall we discuss my proposition?
Yes.
So, my people are currently under attack by a group you are probably not familiar with, having been from a different planet than the one that I am from. And we are at risk of being driven out of our home or eradicated completely. So, given that you are outsiders, we thought you might have resources that would be able to assist us. And if you do, we are open to assisting you in whatever way we possibly can, as well.
Can you tell us more about the group that's attacking you?
Have you heard of the Rockton?
Yes.
Yes.
We've seen them.
Oh, you've seen them.
Yes, from a distance, thank goodness.
I have seen them very up close. And at this, Aaron is going to pull out his sketchbook again and flip through it. And it doesn't really look like he goes for any specific genre. It is filled with absolutely every single thing. Some of that is just like still life. Some of that is drawings of things that he finds amusing, such as parts of your ship. And some of them are drawings of what you can only assume is what is happening at his home right now. They're very, very vivid details of these birdmen coming and eradicating people who look very, very much like Aaron. You see scenes of them, of violence, of attempted negotiation, of devastation after an attack. Really, really everything that could possibly go on there. And he hands this to you and just says, swipe through this for a detailed summary of the attacks we are experiencing.
Yeah, swipe through the art book.
Yeah, so the best way to communicate this for the audience is to imagine it as if you are looking through a war journal. You're looking through, handmade drawings of scenes which seem very tragic. The Rockton are being extremely aggressive, and there are underground passageways here that are shown in these pictures that seem to be, some parts of them seem to be melted. I don't assume Aaron would spare any feelings about what happened, and so I would just say that it looks like only of really any size and perhaps perceivable age are targets, and this looks a lot like a bunch of war crimes is what it looks like, even if they don't have any sort of formal practices when it comes to war and combatants. This is horrifying.
Did your people try talking peace with the Rockton?
Oh, yes. We are not a violent people. We really, really didn't want to have to fight in any way. We are small in number, though we are a very, very closely knit community. But they were not amenable to our proposals of peace, which is somewhat odd, given that we live under the ground, and they, as bird folk, would logically prefer the air above.
And what would your people propose that we do to help?
Well, I can't be sure of that. That's why I'd wish to take you back to my planet so you can speak to our leadership council. That way we could best determine what you can do to help us and what we can possibly do for you in return. I do not know your specific skill sets, although you do have some remarkably impressive technology. And Aaron is looking around the ship again.
Yes, we can talk to your council and formulate a plan to help your people. I don't think we have the firepower or skill set to totally eliminate a people, but we can work to help you the best we can.
Well, we do not need to eliminate them. We only want safety for our own people.
Do your people with their technology have a means of detecting other planets that are capable of sustaining life?
Yeah, so I would just say as far as the technological level goes for the Onyi, they have not had access to inter-solar system technology for some time. So it might be a situation that Arin would know that perhaps the council could answer that question, but that's not you wouldn't be purview to that information. It's possible, but you're not sure.
I am only a scout. We have very, very advanced technology, but that is not information I am privy to.
I only ask because my role in this was to serve as a protector for a group of people who were also seeking out a new home, as ours also fell into disarray. And I was merely thinking if, as a solution for your people and perhaps for ours, or what remains of ours as well, if that's even a possibility. So if that is something within your council, that might be something to consider. Only because if the firepower, as Captain Costra said, is not sufficient enough to help provide a reasonable defense for the entirety of your community, sometimes seeking out another safe refuge may be an option.
We have considered that. And if that is what it comes to, then so be it. But we have not exhausted all of our options yet. And we are hoping that you all might shed light on an option we have not tried. Have you traveled by portal before? And I turn to the two who have not traveled by portal in the last 15 minutes.
Yes, but not in the way that you travel. So it should be an interesting experience. I mean, maybe Fido's traveled through portal. He is half alien, after all. Maybe you're related. Fido, this could be your people.
Fido thinks back to the last alien he met and he's like, I don't know.
That one was really big.
I look Fido up and down and I'm going, I don't think that that's likely based off of the evidence that most of my people are around my size. And you look and Aaron is like 5'4".
So Fido's just like looking down to Tall. He's just like, stranger things have happened, but I'm not gonna bet on it, Cap.
Yeah, well, I do actually want to speak with your council anyways about somebody that visited the planet probably in the last 10 years. It's a long time, but maybe they might remember a couple of people like me that might have showed up to your planet.
Oh, I'm sure they would. We don't get many aliens here. So I have no doubt they would remember you.
Wonderful. Well, lead the way. Oh, do we want to grab anything like weapons? Not for your people.
Whatever supplies you feel are necessary, by all means, bring them with you. Though we have many of our own we can supply you with.
But not weapons, because you are a peaceful people.
We have the necessary weapons for self-defense.
Fido hears the captain says that and looks at the big rifle on Aaron's back.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how your rifle / portal travel weapon works.
I will gladly give you a demonstration when we walk through the portal.
I also have a question, just for basic safety in exploration. I do have a question. So the air composition, everything that's on the planet in the area that we are, based on, I guess, the fact that you're here and able to breathe our air, is it similar and safe? And looks over towards Fida. Any of the other resources there are non-dangerous perhaps to... Well, I guess you wouldn't know, would you?
I would not know. It is quite possible that there is some sort of molecule in the air or water that aliens such as yourself might have an allergic reaction to, but I have not personally tested this, so I assume you will be completely safe. However, it does smell a little bit earthy where we are, as we do live under the ground.
Vida leans in and he's just like, I think maybe that we'll probably be safe unless they have some kind of strange gas vent underground that they should be fine. They can breathe surface air. He turns around, he's like, you can breathe the air on the surface of your planet, right?
Yes.
And then he turns, he's like, we should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to breathe it when that plant ate my suit. So,
Mm-hmm. Then the plant ate your suit when you had the water and when, all of the above touched him.
Yeah, and then I passed out.
And then that part. That's the part that I was getting to.
He kind of makes a gesture of, that's reasonable. He kind of just goes quiet. Yeah, he's like, yeah. Got to think on that for a second.
I'm simply thinking as someone who wants to protect and keep you guys safe. I suppose there could be any other suits, something that would be a little more personal protective equipment, just in case. And she gestures to herself. I don't know how many of these exist. I don't even know if one would fit you, Fida, to be perfectly honest.
I don't think it would. Well, unless it was custom made. My understanding is those units were pretty custom to the user. They weren't one size fits all.
That is true. And she kind of flexes a little in hers.
Muscle bundles kind of just... I still think it was weird that they put in muscle fiber bundles on the biceps and the thighs and not a lot where else, but anyway.
Oh, well, you'd be surprised where they put it. Anyway, I suppose, I have mine. I also have my defensive gear. If the others want to grab theirs, that sounds great. I guess I'm ready to go back through the portal if that's what we're doing.
I'll grab my medical kit and tools. Basically, this galaxy has not been kind to me. I'm now bringing a gun. Partly because I realized I'm proficient in guns.
Oh, hey. Cool.
Fabulous. So the group gets together some things. Reasonable that we'll just leave them couched in the word things.
Aaron will start preparing the portal.
I love that for you. So this is going to be a little harder, Aaron, because you're transporting multiple people. You're transporting them at a further distance. And so this is going to be a difficulty 5 challenge to do this. And so you can tell me how you would like to combat that challenge.
All right.
And if you need help, let me know. Or the rest of our cast should be able to assist you as well.
I'm helpful.
You are helpful.
Literally. That is my special ability, is helpful. Whenever you help another creature, that creature gains the benefit as if you were trained, even if you're not trained or specialized in the attempted task. So much like how she has done for the entirety of anything she's done here, she probably gets a little too uncomfortably close and is peering over at the equipment. And go, okay, so are these letters? Like, how does this work? Oh, ooh, okay. And can that count as helpful?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay, that lowers it by 1. Backseat power armor wearer.
Does the portal gun situation count as a computer?
Technically, yes.
Because I am trained in computers.
You are. So that's 3 now.
All right.
So you could roll versus a 9 if you want.
Okay, I'll roll versus a 9.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
And I rolled a 4.
Okay. So you begin to triangulate location of home, and you're beginning to have like a tough time like fully getting it correlated. And I wonder if any of our player characters would like to give Emily a point of XP to allow Aaron to re-roll.
What?
You can do that.
I will give it to Emily so she can reroll.
Much obliged. And this is a 14.
Okay. So it does take a little while to dial in because of a few factors. One of which you realize is that the open space that you were planning on aiming towards is no longer open anymore. It looks like there's some sort of metallic blocking that's going on. It's a new tactic that the Rockton have been putting up. And it's one of the reasons why the community's need is so desperate is They're beginning to put up certain blocking that will prevent you from portaling in and out because they're trying to hem the community in.
Gotcha.
But you find that specific space that you need. It's a little closer to home, and you dial up that portal and it grows to about, we'll say about 4 feet or so tall, enough for you to duck right in and go.
All right. This time, I'm going to give the disclaimer that sometimes extraterrestrials can have a little bit of a difficult time when going through this sort of teleportation portal. That being said, in you go.
Fida mutters the words, "Please keep hands and feet inside the ride at all times," and just kind of, like against his better judgment, hesitantly goes into the portal, but still before the rest of the team.
Cordelia follows right after him.
Tamarisk will go next because I remember how badly Fida is scared of things like the dark, and when, even though I am not happy about this, considering I just went through it a few minutes ago, my reaction to things gets lessened when I have to help someone else cope with it. So I'm going to go through and see if Fida needs help.
Okay. Is everybody else going through then, I assume?
Yep, I will go through.
Okay.
Look back at Aaron, making sure he's following because we don't want the portal to close behind us. And then the ship gets taken over. And then, but I have a good, sense of people. So I walk through.
And Aaron will follow.
So the trip is a little different for everybody. For Amara, this feels a lot like shifting through portals in the Third Horizon, except sort of on a smaller level to equate it to. It feels more like getting into a pool of water, like a bath, and then immediately getting right back out, except that you're doing it standing up, which is sort of strange. It looks like for you, Fida, that this trip is fairly quick. You are left with some pretty strange visuals, and that the surface area that you see, which comes at you very fast, you sort of get this weird third perspective view of the planet for probably 2 or 3 seconds too long. And you see little stitch marks all over the planet. Almost like somebody had used a tap and had made a specific sort of screw hole, right? With the very specific turns.
He sees like the threading, yeah. He's just like,
yeah.
I feel like that kind of distracts him from the fear. He's just like, huh.
It does. It definitely gives you the it gives you a feeling. It gives you a feeling like the builders were here at one point.
Yeah, that seems like something they'd do.
It does. Tamarisk, the trip this time is super quick and not nearly as frigid.
That's good. I feel better.
So the party in its entirety ends up in an underground cavern. There are various stalactites, which seem to glow with phosphorescent fungi. And it gives a deep pink and green tone to everything. For you, Aaron, this is sort of like the foyer to the community. Lots of people come through here all the time. This is sort of like the trainee landing zone when your people get their portaling technology. This is sort of like where all the kids would come first, because this is home. And so this feels sort of like coming back to kindergarten for you, which is sweet, except that your people are under attack from people who want to commit genocide. But you're back.
All right, welcome to my home planet, everyone. As we walk through to the Leadership Council, I want to alert you all to the fact that most people in here have not actually seen aliens such as yourselves before. So if you are experiencing some interesting stares, that would be why. I know this is personally very exciting for me, as I'm sure you've been able to tell this entire time. And you look, and Aaron's face has been almost completely blank for most of the time that he's been talking to you. So, just as a warning. And I do hope that the experience of teleportation was slightly more amenable to you this time.
Yeah, not bad. I'm gonna have to get me one of those.
I found it pretty okay, yeah.
Great. Then, let's carry on. Oh, yes?
No, as we can talk, we can walk and talk. So, interesting stairs. Are we also maybe anticipating the weapons pointed at us, anything of that sort? Like, is that your first instinct?
Well, they will see that you are with me.
Ah.
Unless there is an attack of the Rockton going on, which hopefully there won't be. If there is, in that case, you should run very quickly. But no, in general, if they see you are with me, you should be fine.
Excellent. I merely ask because where I come from, should we have come across aliens or extraterrestrials or other? In that case, my species sometimes can be a little trigger happy. And she gestures a little at her own weaponry. Some of us are trained to not be as such. However, I ask knowing how my people would have reacted. So thank you for comforting me.
I see. I think that given that they will see people who are outsiders who are not attacking us, they will probably be very, very excited about it.
Excellent.
And I lead the way into...
So just so we're clear, Aaron has been using a attachment, like a prosthesis attachment to his face to talk to you all. So I say that because as you get into the community space itself, you see Anyi of many different sort of shades and hues of blue and maybe like a seafoam green and like white. But what you don't see is people having conversations with that same sort of appliance. And it is a little different. It is especially different on a sound level. There are people moving about and doing things, and there are sounds in this community, except none of them are verbal. No one is speaking. The underground structure here, for your benefit, and of course the audience's benefit, is made out of several different conical shapes. So all of their major buildings go upwards in cones, and these cones are set in a pattern that seems to run like the inside and I would say the minute designations inside a watch. Think of it like that. Think about being on the plane of a watch and seeing from left to right in a sweeping sort of semicircular pattern. They're just being cone, 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 cone. These cones are anywhere between, likely 5 to maybe 12 meters high at the peak. It's a tunnel system and an underground structure that's been dug out and dug down. And so many of the main community spaces where you're seeing people move about or interact with one another are at a lower level. So I like to playfully think of this as like the 70s sunken floor. And that's the vibe that's going on here. Everyone seems, body language wise, Tamaris, to be, I would say, mostly calm. There are Anyi that are standing guard, but when they see Orin come in with you, they don't give you any sort of second look other than to register that you're an alien and you look different from them. That's about it. But they don't say anything either. And so you don't get any sort of additional detail. For you, Orin, when you walk past like the main community guard post, they immediately mentally question you. Who are these people? Where did they come from? What are they?
All right, I will relay the information back to them, saying,
They smell funny.
These are the outsiders I have retrieved on my mission. Ideally, they will speak to the Leadership Council and then help us in our conflict with the Rockton.
They seem very happy at that news, and they urge you to take them to the council immediately.
Excellent.
And you're like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So being a community scout, Aaron, you know an awful lot of people. And as you move through these spaces with your aliens, a lot of people project mental questions at you. Most of them are very curious. Most of them are very just genuinely happy to see that there are species other than the Rockton. Some people ask you where their feathers are. And yeah, as far as the council building goes, it's basically across this enormous quad. It's the largest conical buildings that are here. The touchstones that I'll give the players are all of the lighting in here seems to be of some sort of phosphorescent fungi. So there's no electric or seemingly electric lighting that's down here. So All of it has this really cool sort of like synthwave, subdued neon vibe in here.
I think as with everywhere we've gone, Vida is just trying to like soak it in and also figure out some of the systems he's looking at. Like, what could that thing on the wall's purpose be? Is it a carbon monoxide detector? I guess we'll never know. But yeah, he's just looking around trying to figure out what stuff is, and he's kind of, he twigs the bioluminescence, and he's just like, okay, so that's how they're doing this. Cool. I guess it's probably more efficient. Maybe, he's trying to figure out why you'd stick with that, and he's just like, well, maybe they've got some way of controlling it on a room-by-room basis. Maybe they don't care about that, blah, 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 blah. Vida stuff. Try to figure out everything you see when looking at it.
You have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You'd like to dig in, but it doesn't seem like the pace is going to allow it.
And I don't think it's the time.
You head up a series of stairs, wide stairs, probably 4 or 5 people wide. And you get taken to a set of conical buildings which are sort of mashed together. They don't have the same separation as everything else here. And you see in front of those buildings there are what our aliens would term as some type of fortification that has been done to that structure. And there are actually active Anyi that are standing here with rifles. There's some sort of protective guard that's been put up, but none of them bother you. You walk right past them and into the depths of the council building, which we're going to get a chance to talk all about next episode. So I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Children of the Periphery, put on by the Old Ways Podcast. I want to thank Emily for coming in and being a part of this episode. I can't wait to see what they do next. And we'll see you all back next time.